I smooth the silk of my ivory gown, staring into the vanity mirror. For years, I've been the quiet daughter, the one who stayed behind to help Dad with the books, while my brother, Julian, flew first class around the world, chasing venture capital and ego strokes. But today is different. Today, I am the lead character. Mark is waiting at the end of that aisle, and for the first time in 30 years, the spotlight isn't on the golden boy. It's on me. My heart hammers against my ribs. It's a rhythmic, frantic thud. I can hear the string quartet playing a soft rendition of Wildest Dreams in the garden below. Everything is perfect. The peonies are the exact shade of blush I wanted. The champagne is chilling. My father walks into the room, looking sharper than I've ever seen him, but his eyes aren't on me. They're glued to his phone. He's almost here. Dad mutters, not even looking at my veil. Julian says the investors are giving him a hard time, but he's making it work. He'll be here before the vows. I feel that familiar sting, a sharp needle of resentment. Even on my wedding day, the air in the room is occupied by Julian's big moves. I swallow the lump in my throat and force a smile. I'm glad he's coming, Dad. But can we just be here for a second? Dad finally looks up, but his expression is distracted. He pats my hand absent-mindedly. Of course, Clara, you look beautiful. But you know how Julian is. This tech merger, it's the legacy. It's what keeps the family name on the map. That was the moment I realized I wasn't a bride to them. I was a scheduled event between two business meetings. I look back at my reflection, trying to reclaim the joy. I tell myself it doesn't matter. Mark loves me. Mark sees me. As long as we say those words and sign those papers, I can finally start a life where I'm not an afterthought. The coordinator knocks on the door, signaling it's time. My pulse skyrockets. I take Dad's arm, his sleeve smelling of expensive cigars and Julian's cologne. We step out onto the terrace. The sun is setting, painting the sky in hues of violet and gold. I see Mark. He looks breathless. He looks like I'm the only thing in his universe. We begin the walk. The grass is soft beneath my heels. My bridesmaids are smiling, their eyes misty. Everything is falling into place. I am seconds away from safety. I am seconds away from a home of my own. Then, the heavy oak doors of the manor bang open. Julian doesn't just walk out. He explodes onto the scene. He's sweating, his tie undone, clutching a laptop like a holy relic. He isn't looking for a seat. He's looking for Dad. He's shouting something over the music, his voice cracking the peaceful atmosphere like a hammer through glass. The quartet falters. The guests turn their heads. The ceremony hasn't even begun, and Julian is already the center of the world. I feel the grip on my father's arm tighten, but he's already pulling away. He's leaning toward my brother. The deal. Julian screams, ignoring the gasp from the front row. Dad, the signature. They're backing out unless we leverage the estate today. Right now. I stand frozen in the middle of the aisle. The perfect illusion doesn't just fade, it shatters into 1,000 jagged pieces. The music stops entirely. The silence is more deafening than Julian's shouting. I am standing 10 feet from the altar, my white train trailing in the dirt, while my father and brother engage in a frantic, hushed argument in front of 200 guests. Mark looks at me, his face a mask of confusion and hurt. He takes a step toward me, but Julian pushes past him, nearly knocking over the flower girl. Julian, stop, I whisper, though my voice feels caught in a web of tears. Please, just 10 minutes. Let us finish the ceremony. He doesn't even look at me. Clara, grow up. This is $20 million. Do you have any idea what this means for the company? Your little party can wait. Dad, I need your digital key. Now, I watch in horror as my father reaches into his pocket. He doesn't look at Mark. He doesn't look at the priest. He looks at Julian with a mixture of fear and adrenaline. Is it the German group? Did they agree to the terms? Everything is ready. Julian says, his eyes manic. We just need to finalize the asset transfer. I've got them on a live conference call in the library. Come on. They start to walk away. They are actually leaving. My father, the man who was supposed to give me away, is following his son back into the house because a deal couldn't wait for a vow. I feel invisible. I feel like a ghost haunting my own wedding. Dad, I cry out, my voice finally finding its edge. If you walk through those doors, don't bother coming back out. I mean it. My father pauses, his foot on the threshold. He looks back at me, and for a second, I see a flicker of guilt. But then Julian grabs his shoulder. She's just being dramatic, Dad. She'll get over it. We lose this window, we lose everything. You want to go back to being a mid-level firm? Think about the legacy. Legacy, that word, is the cage they've kept me in my whole life. Dad looks at me one last time, a pathetic, apologetic shrug. And then he disappears inside. The guests are whispering now, a low hiss of scandal. I look at Mark. He's standing by the altar, his hands trembling. He looks humiliated. This was supposed to be the happiest day of his life, and my family has turned it into a circus. I try to move toward him, to tell him it's okay, but the weight of the betrayal is too much. Julian's voice carries through the open library window, booming with triumph. He's laughing. He's talking about scaling and disruption, while my wedding cake sits melting in the sun. He didn't just interrupt. He conquered. He saw something beautiful that belonged to me, and he stepped on it because it was in his way. I look at the empty space where my father stood. I look at the guests who are now standing up, unsure if they should leave. I feel the hot sting of tears, but beneath that, something else is bubbling. A cold, hard knot of fury. They thought I wouldn't fight back. They thought Clara would just cry in her room and eventually forgive them like she always does. I turn to the crowd, my voice shaking but loud. The wedding is over. I announce. Please, head to the reception. Drink the bar dry. It's already paid for. I don't wait for their reactions. I turn and walk back toward the house, but I don't go to my bridal suite. I go to the basement. I go to the server room where the family business records are stored. I am the one who kept the books, after all. I know where the bodies are buried. I sit on the floor in my wedding dress, the expensive lace tearing against the cold concrete. My heart is a jagged stone in my chest. I can hear them upstairs, the heavy footsteps of my father and brother, the clinking of glasses. They're celebrating. They've already forgotten that I was supposed to be married today. I trusted them. I spent years being the reliable one, the one who didn't make waves, the one who made sure the taxes were filed and the contractors were paid, while Julian played visionary. I gave them my youth, my labor, and my loyalty, and in return, they took the one day that was mine and sacrificed it on the altar of their greed. The betrayal isn't just that they left the ceremony. It's that they didn't even think it was a choice. To them, my life is a hobby. Julian's life is the mission. I pull my laptop from the shelf, the one I use for the firm's auditing. My fingers fly over the keys. I see the deal they're so proud of. It's a merger with a massive European conglomerate. It's built on a house of cards. Julian has been inflating the projected earnings of our domestic branches, moving debt into shell accounts I've been quietly trying to resolve for months. He thinks he's a genius. He thinks he's optimized the books. In reality, he's committed massive fraud, and he's using Dad's reputation to coat it in gold. I see the final contract sitting in the queue, waiting for the third-party audit verification. I could stop this. I could fix the entries. Or I could let the truth out. I look at a photo on the desk, a picture of me and Julian when we were kids. He's holding a trophy, and I'm standing behind him, holding his coat. I've been holding his coat for 30 years. A sob escapes me, raw and ugly. I thought if I was good enough, if I was quiet enough, they would eventually love me for who I am, not just for what I do for them. But today proved that there is no amount of good that will ever make me visible to them. To them, I am just the furniture in Julian's world. I hear a laugh from upstairs. Julian's booming, arrogant laugh. He just closed the first phase. He's probably telling Dad how they'll buy me a better wedding next year to make up for it. You don't get to buy me, I whisper to the empty room. I open the encrypted folder labeled Internal Audit Discrepancies. It's a list of every corner Julian has cut, every lie he's told the investors, and every cent he's embezzled to cover his personal gambling debts. It's the nuclear option. If I send this to the lead investor, the deal doesn't just die. The family name dies. Julian goes to prison. Dad loses the estate. My life, as I know it, will be over. I'll be the woman who destroyed her own family. But then I think of Mark's face at the altar. I think of the way he looked at me before Julian ruined it. He didn't see a legacy. He saw a person. And my family tried to kill that person today. My hand hovers over the send button. This is the point of no return. If I do this, I can never go back to the way things were. I'll be an outcast. I'll be the villain in their story, but I'm already a ghost in theirs. I might as well be a ghost with a vengeance. I hit send. The next few hours are a blur of adrenaline and cold, calculated silence. I leave the basement, stripped of my veil, my hair loose and messy. I find Mark in the parking lot. He's sitting in his car, his head in his hands. Mark, I say, tapping on the window. He looks up, his eyes red. Clara, what happened? Your dad, he just walked away. I know, I say, opening the door. Get out of the car. We're leaving. Not to the reception, just away. What about the family? He asks, looking toward the house where the lights are blazing. I don't have a family anymore. I tell him, I just have you. If you still want me. He doesn't hesitate. He reaches out and pulls me into a hug so tight I can finally breathe. I always want you, he whispers. But what did you do, Clara? You have that look in your eye. I told the truth. I say simply, we drive away, the manor shrinking in the rearview mirror. I wait for the phone to ring. I know Julian's routine. He'll check the investor portal for the final verification notification. He'll expect a green check mark. Instead, he's going to find a 40-page PDF detailing his own crimes sent directly to the SEC and the conglomerate's legal team. My phone vibrates in my lap. It's Julian. I decline it. It vibrates again. Dad. I decline it. Then comes the string of texts. Clara, what did you do? The investors are calling. They're screaming about fraud. Pick up the phone, you crazy girl. You're ruining everything. Clara, I will kill you. Undo it. I feel a strange sense of peace. For the first time in my life, I am the one in control. I am the one causing the chaos. And Julian is the one reacting. He's begging. The golden boy is finally realizing that the quiet girl was the only thing keeping his world from imploding. I turn my phone off and toss it into the glove box. Where are we going? Mark asks, his voice steady. To a courthouse in the next county. I say, I want to be Clara Miller, not Clara Vance. I'm done with that name. As we drive into the night, I imagine the scene back at the house. The investors pulling out. The bank freezing the accounts. The police arriving to ask Julian about the misallocated funds. He thought he could use my wedding as a backdrop for his greed. Now, his greed will be the backdrop for his downfall. I spent my life trying to be the perfect daughter, the perfect sister, the perfect employee. All it got me was a ruined wedding and a broken heart. But as the city lights appear on the horizon, I don't feel broken. I feel light. I feel like the person I was always meant to be before I started carrying their weight. I'm not a victim anymore. I'm the storm. 6 months later, I'm sitting in a small, sun-drenched cafe in a city 300 miles away. I have a new job at a small nonprofit. I have a small apartment with Mark, and I have the news. I pull up the morning headlines on my tablet. There it is. Vance Holdings files for bankruptcy amidst fraud investigation. There's a photo of Julian walking out of a courthouse, his face pale and sunken. He looks old. He looks small. Behind him, my father is shielding his face from the cameras. They lost the estate. They lost the legacy. They lost the power they used to crush me. I haven't spoken to them since that night. They've sent letters, some begging for money, others filled with vitriol and blame. They call me a traitor. They say I destroyed the family. But they're wrong. They destroyed the family a long time ago. I just stopped pretending the ruins were a palace. The door to the cafe opens, and Mark walks in carrying a bag of groceries and a single sunflower. He kisses my forehead and sits down. "You okay?" he asks, glancing at the tablet. "I'm perfect," I say, and for the first time, I mean it, the intense, suffocating weight of my old life is gone. I don't have a legacy anymore. I don't have a massive inheritance waiting for me. I have something much better. I have a life that belongs to me. I look at the photo of Julian one last time before closing the tab. He thought he was the architect of his own destiny, but he was just a thief who got caught. He ruined my wedding, thinking it was a small price to pay for his success. He never realized that I was the one holding the bill. I reach across the table and take Mark's hand. We're planning a small ceremony next month, just us, a judge, and 2 friends. No strings, no deals, no Julian. I used to think that family was something you had to protect, no matter how much it hurt you. I used to think that being loyal meant being a doormat. I was wrong. Loyalty is a two-way street, and mine was a dead end. I've learned that you can't build a future while you're still trying to save people who are happy to drown you. Sometimes you have to let go of the rope to save yourself. I watch the steam rise from my coffee, feeling a profound sense of release. The anger is gone. The need for revenge has been satisfied. All that's left is the quiet, beautiful reality of my own freedom. I realize now that the perfect wedding I wanted wouldn't have been perfect at all. It would have been another lie. Another day where I smiled for the cameras while Julian ran the show. By ruining his deal, I didn't just get revenge. I got my soul back. I walked out of that manor and into the light, and I'm never going back into the shadows. Sometimes losing your family is the price of finding yourself.